Thank you, Attorney General Nessel, for entrusting Prosecutor Worthy and I with leading this investigation. And thank you, Prosecutor Worthy, for your partnership and our team, including Special Assistant Attorney General Molly Kettler, who's also here with us today. Let me start by saying the Flint water crisis is not some relic of the past. At this very moment, the people of Flint continue to suffer from the categorical failure of public officials at all levels of government, who trampled upon their trust and evaded accountability for far too long. Government power is not granted as a blank check. It is borrowed by those who swear an oath to faithfully discharge their duties in service of the people. That is why we have specific laws governing the conduct of public officials. Because a seat in government comes with extraordinary powers and equally extraordinary responsibilities. When an entire city is victimized by the negligence and indifference of those in power, it deserves an uncompromising investigation that holds to account anyone who is criminally culpable. That is what all citizens in this state are entitled to, regardless of their zip code. And that is what we did. Our approach was simple. Where we believed the evidence would prove a criminal charge, we sought and obtained indictments for those crimes. Let me be clear. There are no velvet ropes in our criminal justice system. Nobody, no matter how powerful or well-connected, is above accountability when they commit a crime. And just as no one in this case was unfairly targeted, no one was given any special passes or privileges. Finally, we may never know all the names of those who had their lives and livelihoods destroyed by this man-made crisis. And although the criminal justice system alone cannot remedy all the suffering that every person endured, we took our part seriously, and we hope others will do the same to ensure that this never, ever happens again. I would now like to discuss the indictments. It is important to remind everyone that a criminal charge is merely an allegation, and a defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. Further, I will provide a summary of the indictments. While I will provide that summary, I am not able to comment on the evidence that supports these indictments. This is because MCL 767.4a prohibits us from sharing any testimony, evidence, or information used in connection with the grand jury inquiry. The indictments are as follows. Nicholas Lyon, former director of MDHHS, is charged with 9 counts of involuntary manslaughter, for each a 15-year felony, and 1 count of willful neglect of duty, a 1-year misdemeanor, for his failures and grossly negligent performance of his legal duties while director of MDHHS to protect the health of the citizens of Michigan in accordance with the Public Health Code. Eden Wells, former chief medical executive, is charged with 9 counts of involuntary manslaughter, each a 15-year felony, and 1 count of willful neglect of duty, a 1-year misdemeanor, for her failures and grossly negligent performance of her legal duties while director of MDHHS to protect the citizens of Michigan in accordance with the Public Health Code. In addition, she is charged with 2 separate counts of misconduct in office, each a 5-year felony, for 2 separate incidences of preventing or attempting to prevent the distribution of public health information about Legionnaire's disease in Genesee County. Nancy Peeler, former manager of the Early Childhood Health Section at MDHHS, is charged with 2 counts of misconduct in office, each a 5-year felony, for concealing and later misrepresenting data related to elevated blood lead levels of children in the city of Flint, and 1 count of willful neglect of duty, a 1-year misdemeanor, for her failure to act upon information of those elevated blood lead levels. Gerald Ambrose, former finance director and state-appointed emergency manager of the city of Flint, is charged with 4 counts of misconduct in office, a 5-year felony for acts related to the city of Flint's finances, as well as Flint's water supply source. Darnell Early, former state-appointed emergency manager for the city of Flint, is charged with 3 counts of misconduct in office, each a 5-year felony for acts related to City of Flint's finances, as well as misinformation about the quality and safety of the Flint water supply. Howard Croft, former director of the Department of Public Works for the City of Flint, is charged with 2 counts of willful neglect of duty, each a 1-year misdemeanor, for willfully neglecting his duty to ensure the safety and quality of the Flint water supply. Richard Snyder, former governor of the state of Michigan, is charged with 2 counts of willful neglect of duty, each a 1-year misdemeanor, for willfully neglecting his mandatory legal duties under the Michigan Constitution and the Emergency Management Act, thereby failing to protect the health and safety of Flint's residents. Jared Agan, former director of communications and chief of staff of the Executive Office of Governor Snyder, is charged with 1 count of perjury, a 15-year felony, for giving false statements under oath. Richard Baird, former senior advisor and transformation manager in the Executive Office of Governor Snyder, is charged with 1 count of misconduct in office, a 5-year felony, by improperly using state resources and personnel, 1 count of perjury, a 15-year felony, for giving false statements under oath, 1 count of obstruction of justice, a 5-year felony, for attempting to interfere or influence ongoing legal proceedings related to the Flint water crisis, and 1 count of extortion, a 20-year felony, for threatening a state-appointed research team during their investigation into the source of the Legionnaire's disease outbreak in Genesee County. All defendants turned themselves in to the Genesee County Jail. They have been processed and have been arraigned on the charges. The arraignments were handled by Assistant Attorney General Bryant Oskowitz. Richard Snyder and Howard Croft were arraigned in 67th District Court by Judge Christopher Odette, and their next court date is January 19th before Judge Crawford. The remainder of the defendants were arraigned in the 7th Circuit Court by Judge Elizabeth Kelly, and their next court date is February 18th at 3 p.m., and no judge has been assigned at this time. I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge the work and assistance of Judge Newblatt and his staff, the 7th Circuit Court in Genesee County, as well as the Genesee County Sheriff in accommodating our prosecution team during this grand jury proceeding, especially during this pandemic, and the ensuing processing and arraignment of the defendants. I want to personally thank Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson for working with our chief investigator and investigative team to ensure defendants were processed in an efficient manner. Like any criminal case, as it proceeds through the court system, new evidence may come to light or new witnesses may come forward. So while our focus now is on prosecuting these cases, we won't neglect any need for further investigation. Let me end by thanking the people of Flint for their patience. And before we take questions, let me also thank the media for continuing to cover the Flint water crisis and for respecting our legal limitations throughout this process. Thank you.